Hi everyone, welcome to the Gods Enchantments channel. I am Claire and this is day 10 of our 12 days of crystals. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe and ring the bell. You can find all the links you need in the drop down below to the website and my closed Facebook community group. Welcome to all our new subscribers here on YouTube and our new community members over on Facebook. So I could not do a 12 days of crystals without talking about this crystal. I have it all over my home in numerous forms. I teach about it in my group. I've taught about it in many of my courses. It is an affordable crystal that all budgets can find a form of it that they can get. I never let it go out of stock on the website in some form or another. There's always some kind of selenite on the website. So here's a couple of forms and we'll go through some of the different uses before going into the actual correspondences. So first is these wonderful, lovely discs. So these are really great to place around your home, to use on your altar. You can charge jewelry on these, ritual oils, tools, whatever you like. You can make mini grids on here, a small generator and some crystals around the outside. Really great way to work with this gemstone. Little offering selenite bowls, so great for around the home. You could put like a happy home mix or protection mixes, things like that in here for around the house. Offering mixes on your altar. So I mean, it literally is never ending with selenite. I like to have all forms, all bases covered, and we'll talk about why. These I always try and keep in stock. Occasionally they go out and I'm like, oh, I need to get to my supplier and get some more. But they are super duper affordable. These bars, they're just like a bar, you can see there. And they're really great for placing on your altar, for putting along your window sills. We'll talk more about that in a bit. And they're just a really practical way to place selenite around your home that's very cost effective. Then there is an actual wand in one of my subscription boxes that I run every month. Last year, we actually had some of these selenite wands and we decorated them and dedicated them, and it was really beautiful. And I mean, just look at selenite. It is so gorgeous. Selenite is named after the goddess Selene, which is a moon goddess. Which brings me to the selenite moons. Just look at that. Is this just not incredibly stunning? And selenite looks beautiful in all lights. I think these are still on the website. They should be, because if I have them here, then they should be there. But yes, so it's named after the goddess Selene, because when ancient people saw it, they couldn't understand how it could glimmer and gleam and look so much like the moon. So they thought the goddess was trapped inside. So that's a little bit of history there on the name of it. So selenite, why do you need it? Why would you want it? Why is it so fabulous? Let's pick a piece that I can use as my holding piece. I'm going to go with the moon. So selenite does not like low vibrations. It is a very high vibration gemstone that low vibrations and low energies just does not survive around. So if you put this into a negative environment, so for example, some people have large spheres they keep in their house. I have two large ones, one in the living room, one in the dining room that I like to keep because you never know who's coming to your house. And also for, energy properties. But when you place it in a room, on an altar, carry it with you, that sort of thing, any negative low vibrations that come towards you, that come towards your home, that someone may walk into your home with, cannot survive around this handy dandy gemstone. It's why placing these, where has it gone? These along your window sills is a really wonderful way of keeping a high vibration and white light in your home. Now, as the name suggests, selenite does love the moon. So I do recommend, if you can, charging your selenite up each full moon with that wonderful energy. You'll find that it becomes a lot more sparkly, a lot more energetic. It really just loves bathing under the moon. So it is a very positive and happy gemstone because those vibrations don't survive around it. So if you're going through a tough time, if you want to raise your own energy, then this would be one to carry with you. Now, jewelry wise, you are not going to find this in a ring. If you do, on somewhere like Etsy or eBay or somewhere, don't buy it. I'm just going to be honest with you, don't buy it. Occasionally you can get pendants and they're great. You have to be a bit careful with them, but pendants is a good way to wear it. Occasionally drop earrings. If you see a ring, don't buy it. You can get occasional bracelets, but again, I would advise caution because it is very, very low on the Mohs hardness scale, which if you're new to crystals, is a way that we tell the strength of the crystal. So diamond is up there, and that is the hardest possible mineral on the Mohs scale. And then right at the other end, you have talc, which is the softest. And then gemstones are graded along that Mohs hardness. So this is very low. So if I was to take this now and throw it at the wall, I mean, why would you do that? But if I was, it would smash into a lot of pieces. Now, that's an aggressive act. But if I was to sit it on the side of this table and it fell off, if it landed on my carpet, it would survive in this form because it's a nice chunky one. If this fell off and hit the base of the iron lamp that's next to me, this would break. So when you're carrying it, if you want to carry selenite on your person, either be mindful with the type of jewelry that you're getting or a tumble stone. And they do hold up really well, the selenite tumbles. I have one that stays in my handbag at all times. And I'm not careful with that thing. It has been in there for years. Obviously it comes out and it gets cleansed and worked with and then put back. But it's been in there with my purse, it's been there with my phone, all of those things. I'm not too careful with it because it's a small piece, it's been tumbled. When they have been polished like this, it does give them a bit of added strength than if you are actually working with a completely raw piece such as this. This is more fragile than this simply because it's been given a bit more strength. But carrying it with you can be really, really good when placed with black tourmaline or a smoky quartz as a way of protection and transmuting from those and keeping vibrations high around you. Now, some say that selenite does not need to be cleared because of this, because obviously if low vibrations don't survive around it, then does it need to be cleansed? And as I mentioned in a previous video, I personally have found that all crystals need a little bit of, whether you call it cleansing or retuning, a little bit of love, basically. So while your selenite is not going to attract a ton of energy to it, like a smoky quartz, which is going to really be transmuting, but it can hold on and get quite smoggy quite quickly. A black tourmaline, if you pretty much all your crystals, every time you touch them, every time someone else touches them, an imprint is left. Selenite is far, far less susceptible because of the fact of those vibrations. They're just not surviving around this lovely thing. It's just all happy dappy. But it's still having imprints on it from you working with it, holding it, touching it. If someone else touches it, energy still imprints on it. Just because a low vibration doesn't stay there doesn't mean someone else's energy can't get on it, or that the intense work that you've been doing doesn't accumulate. So I personally do like to retune my selenite. I will occasionally pass it through sage, but it's not my favorite method for working with this crystal. I prefer a crystal singing bowl, so it's more of a retune than a deep clear. Obviously, if you're going to be programming your selenite and then you want to reprogram it, English, then you will have to do a full clear to do so. So definitely carry with you. I absolutely always keep this on my altar. I teach about keeping selenite on your altar. If you have an altar you do ritual at, or any altars in your home, I always recommend keeping some form of selenite. I often use selenite tea light holders on my altars, things like this. I should have brought it over. Oh, I did bring it over. I'm more prepared than I think. I also have a slice. We had these for a Crystal Treasures event. I think it was like 3 or 4 Crystal Treasures ago. And I kept one for myself. So I have this on my altar. But any of these forms, you could have your bowl on your altar with your offering mix. You could keep some salt in there. Have it on your altar, because when we're doing our magical work, we always want to be working with the highest possible vibration. We always want to be making sure that nothing low or negative is coming around us, and it's really good for improving your mood and making you feel calm and relaxed, which is what you want. It is a great gemstone for meditation and journey work because it helps the brain to slow down, to calm down, and to relax you. So if you are trying to do that work and go deeper, add in some selenite, because often we work with our really high vibration crystals for our journeys. We get like a bigger and better experience. We might bring in our apophyllite and our dambarite, but we also want to really make sure that we're bringing in something that's nice and calming. Again, it's protective because of the vibrations, but it's also helping you to sink in and to go deeper with the work you're doing, be that meditation, journey, or ritual. It is a really, really good gemstone for sleep. So keeping this by the bed, wonderful. I love selenite in the bedroom. Really, really lovely. I have a really big piece of selenite by my front door. My favorite duo I always talk about to keep by the front door is as big a piece as you can get and afford of black tourmaline and smoky quartz. So everyone that comes in walks through that barrier. The other thing that I personally add is selenite. So I have a large piece in a stand that sits kind of on the like, what do you call those things, like side tables just by the front door, so they also go through that. If you don't have any large pieces of selenite, it's fine. Make some little charm bags and place them by your front door. Even if they're hidden in a drawer, they will still be working for you because its vibration spreads so much. But in the bedroom, it is really, really wonderful. You can also use it with crystals such as ocean jasper to help spread its energy through the house. So if you're working with crystals for a happy home, for communication in the home, if you've got like teenagers in the home, stuff like that, a lot of time people come to me and they're like, I want a more harmonious home. My first crystal is always going to be ocean jasper, but selenite is going to raise the vibration, but it's also going to help spread the energy of any other crystals that are all about loving energies, comforting energies, happiness and joy. It spreads their energy further. It's really, really wonderful used in grids for that main reason as well, is it adds vibration. So it's almost like self-feeding your grid. But it also spreads the energy of the crystals. It amplifies that energy in a different way to quartz, but in a soft way where it's kind of just spreads it more. It's a really beautiful, beautiful energy to work with. I often get asked, would you class this as a protection crystal? By itself, I really, really wouldn't. It's one of those things that, yes, it can protect you from negative energy and low vibrations, but you're really going to need something to work with it. Because if you're carrying a small piece of this, that's not going to be enough to protect your whole auric space while you're out and about and things like that, which is why people often do team it with smoky quartz and black tourmaline in a pouch together. The 3 of them are a very powerful trio. So that's how I would work with it for protection. Now, a lot of people worry about water with this, which is a very valid concern. It is low on the Mohs hardness. It is what's known as a friable crystal. So for example, if I have this and I start picking at it, bits are going to come off in the same way as a kyanite blade. If you start picking at it, bits will flake off. That's not going to happen if you've got a solid piece of clear quartz. You're not going to be able to flake a bit off the side. So in water, if this was left in water, it would start to become soluble and dissolve into the water and fall apart. Now, does this mean that we don't use it in our baths? Absolutely. We do not use selenite in our baths because little pieces can come off and then they can get in your skin. And trust me, you do not want a piece of selenite stuck in you. I have had, that sounded wrong, in your skin, like in your finger or something. I have had a piece of selenite come off of something, shard off and go in my finger. You'd have thought the world was ending. It was extraordinarily painful. Not as painful as quartz, but my God, was it painful. And getting it out is, we just don't want to go there. We don't want splinters of selenite getting into our personal areas, in the bath, or anywhere else for that matter. So this is not a crystal that you would put in bath water. You also would never ever use this in direct gem elixirs for the exact same reason. You do not want to be drinking in any tiny sharp shards of selenite. So if you want to make a water using selenite, if you want to add selenite to a moon water that you're planning to drink, do it with the indirect method. However, if you have a little bowl like this and you are going to do ritual and you want to use some oil, maybe you're going to make a little oil, maybe you have one of my oils, you're going to be anointing candles, tools, crystals, setting up a grid, so you're going to need a little bit. You are quite safe to put a little bit of oil in a bowl like this and use that for your ritual, for your grid, however it is you're planning to work with it. And then at the end, you can wipe it out with paper towel or a little wipe with something damp and let it air dry in a warm place very quickly. It is not going to harm your selenite. Some people think if you add a liquid to this selenite right now, like if I put water in it, it's going to fizz, pop, and the selenite's going to be gone. That's not what happens. You just don't want selenite sitting in it. You wouldn't store sacred waters in a selenite bowl on your altar because it is going to damage them and erode away at them until eventually they do crack in half. But you can use them to do a little bit of anointing and other works along those lines. They also, selenite also works really good as a wand for casting circle and for healing. If you've seen my wand, if you're in the group or one of my students, you've definitely seen my main wand that I use. It has a quartz point at the pointer end, and then it has a selenite that looks like this, which was a tumbled piece in the other end of it, because it's really, really good for wands. And you would use your traditional circle casting method with your wand. None of this just flinging it around you and then you'll have a line around you stuff. But if you want to learn about stuff like that, you can come over and join my group. So I think that is everything about selenites. I think I've covered everything that I have here to show you. Yes, it is a really wonderful, multifunctional gemstone, really affordable, so you can afford to try different versions of it, different ways of it being polished. You can get like, I've brought back really good sized spheres for my community members, and they are not costly compared to others. They're like, for a big sphere, you know, you're not talking hundreds of pounds like you would if you wanted a massive green moss agate one, for example. So really, really hope you have enjoyed this video. Tomorrow is our last day of the 12 days of crystals. If you have enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. You can leave a comment down below. I try and get back to everyone's comments. I do read all of them. That is it from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Blessed be.